Along the meandering Orinoco River, in the middle of the Amazon jungle, is an old riddle carved on stone. Dr. Philip Rearis and his colleagues have discovered enormous, unspoiled rock engravings, unspoiled for millennia. Nestled among thick forest cover, these mysterious sculptures suggest the secrets of a sophisticated society long gone. What stories do these great petroglyphs tell? What messages the ancient people left behind? And how might they change our perspective of prehistoric communities? Number 1. The discovery. The thick Amazon jungle keeps its secrets well, but one fateful day, Dr. Rearis and his group come to find enormous rock impressions close to the Orinoco River. The researchers are astounded by the sheer scale and complexity of the sculptures, which suggest a developed, ancient society. The team notes the possible influence of their findings as they painstakingly record the site. Hiding for millennia, the engravings might change our knowledge of prehistoric communities and their relationships with their surroundings. His enthusiasm is clear as Dr. Rearis tells his staff to treat the engravings with great care. They clean millennia of accumulated trash using delicate bruises and sophisticated instruments. According to the first evaluation, these petroglyphs are deliberately designed and created artworks rather than random marks. The size and complexity of the engravings suggest their great cultural and maybe territorial relevance. Eager to discover the tales these old stones might reveal, the team gets ready to dig further. Number 2. Plotting the engravings. Dr. Rearis's team maps the 14 found sites using modern technologies under the heavy canopy of the jungle. Accurate digital images of the engravings are produced by photogrammetry software, laser scanning instruments, and high-precision GPS devices. These tools expose previously hidden patterns and alignments by time and environment. The crew painstakingly notes every detail to guarantee no subtlety is missed. The unprecedented bird's-eye perspective provided by drone photography helps to assemble the larger landscape background. The team discovers links between the locations that point to a more extensive, coherent network of symbols as the mapping works forward. These links generate fresh issues regarding the social structure and means of communication of the ancient people who produced the engravings. The thorough maps also expose indicators of human activity and weathering, which will direct the next preservation projects. Number 3. The Orinoco River sites. The lifeline of these ancient ruins is the Orinoco River, which meanders past massive cliffs and through deep forests. Every site has special characteristics. Some show complex scenes, while others concentrate on one idea. The significance of the river to the ancient civilizations is evident from the deliberate placement of the carvings along its banks, maybe for several uses. The active ecosystem of the river, with its abundance of plants and animals, most certainly supplied food and ideas for the engravings. Examining the nearby surroundings, the team discovers artifacts and remnants of past villages. These results imply that the Orinoco was not simply a source of food, but also a major center of social and cultural events. Through analysis of the river's relationship with the engravings, the team gains an understanding of the everyday life, spiritual rituals, and territory limits of the ancient residents. This vividly shows how closely prehistoric nature and culture were entwined. Number 4. Drone photography and analysis. Flying above the sites, drones fitted with LiDAR sensors and high-resolution cameras gather thorough pictures and topographical data. The aerial views expose history's undetectable characteristics and trends, therefore adding a fresh angle to the research. The team examines these pictures, looking for wear patterns and tool marks, and this hints at the production of the engravings. Modern tools recreate 3D models so that one may virtually visit the sites. The drone data draws attention to minute differences in the carvings that are not obvious from the ground. These variants imply several phases of creation and possible changes across time. The team also finds secondary engravings may reflect additions or adjustments. Using 3D models, the researchers can replicate the ambient conditions throughout production, therefore providing fresh ideas regarding the goals and meanings of the engravings. The modern technologies transforming archaeology are highlighted in this. Number 5. Significance of the snake motifs. The engravings usually include serpent designs, which wind over almost hypnotic beauty on stone surfaces. To find the symbolic implications of the snake, Dr. Rieris speaks with nearby shamans and cultural historians. Though they differ among societies, snakes frequently stand for danger, protection, and fertility, examining how the engravings might mirror spiritual ideas, social systems, or territorial claims. The researchers investigate these readings. The team notes the placement of the several kinds and sizes of the snake engravings within the overall compositions. Local seniors' interviews expose that, linking past and contemporary attitudes, snakes are still admired and feared in the area. They also explored comparative studies of snake symbolism in various civilizations, noting special features of the Orinoco engravings and establishing links. They explored the sophisticated knowledge of the several functions of snakes in ancient art and civilization. Number 6. Cultural and mythological context. The crew devotes themselves to the cultural and mythological fabric of the indigenous people to completely appreciate the carvings. They listen to oral histories and participate in ceremonies, therefore acquiring priceless insights. These exchanges expose a complex tapestry of ideas and stories, perhaps influencing the engravings. The engravings show they were more than just ornaments. Myths of creation, heroism, and the supernatural entwined with them to suggest they were fundamental to the identity and perspective of the society. With respect and care, Dr. Rieris and his colleagues record these cultural activities so that their research centers on the voices of the indigenous people. They understand the meaning of certain symbols and their links to historical events and natural occurrences. Emphasizing the durability and adaptation of the local cultures, they investigated how colonization and modernity affected traditional customs. They also explored the whole perspective on the cultural and mythical relevance of the engravings by combining ancient and modern stories. Number 7. Interpretations of the engravings. Scholars suggest several readings of the engravings, each idea adding levels to the knowledge of these prehistoric artworks. While some view them as spiritual symbols or historical documents, others as territorial markers. Within the scholarly community, disputes flare out, each theory supported by data and refutations. Examining similar sites all around and making connections helps the team to create a whole picture of the various uses for the carvings, therefore highlighting the varied character of prehistoric rock art. From iconographic studies to anthropological comparisons, they explored the approaches utilized by several academics. Every view is supported by thorough data, including contextual artifacts, tool marks, and wear patterns. The team also takes into account the more general consequences of these ideas for comprehending the political and social systems of past civilizations. This emphasizes the dynamic and changing character of archaeological interpretation, as well as the need for multidisciplinary approaches in revealing the past. Number 8. Potential territorial markers. As the crew finds further evidence, the idea that the engravings were territory marks takes hold. Strategic placement along the river, together with repeating motifs and patterns, suggests these defined bounds. Examining how ancient cultures would have utilized these marks to impose control over land and resources, this investigates the consequences of this notion. Comparisons from history and anthropology help to reinforce this perspective by offering a larger background for appreciating the significance of the carvings in prehistoric geopolitics. The team notes patterns in line with territorial boundaries by mapping the engravings concerning natural characteristics, including river bends, rocks, and valleys. They also investigate the spread of like themes in adjacent areas, implying a linked system of territory. They looked at how these symbols of power and borders might have served both as marks of authority and limits during periods of peace and war. Researchers valued the strategic and symbolic relevance of the engravings in ancient territory management. Number 9. Engravings as communication tools. Apart from defining territory, the engravings most likely functioned as a sophisticated communication tool. Symbols and motifs could express difficult ideas like social hierarchies, resources, and hazards. They explored the possible communicative purposes of the carvings and examined how they may have enabled coordination and cooperation among prehistoric societies. Linguistics and semiotics provide insights that help decipher the symbolic language of the engravings, therefore exposing a rich, complex form of prehistoric communication across time and space. The team looks at the grammar and structure of the engravings to spot trends implying an organized method of communication. To find possible links, they contrast these trends with recognized symbolic languages, including pictograms and ancient scripts. Emphasizing the interaction between visual and verbal communication, they also investigated how oral tradition could help preserve and communicate the meanings of the engravings. By doing this, we will have a better knowledge of how prehistoric societies sent significant messages over millennia and distances using rock art. Number 10. Indigenous beliefs and practices. For the indigenous people living close to the Orinoco River nowadays, the engravings have great spiritual meaning. Viewed as holy, these people link the engravings to their ancestors and the supernatural realm. This area investigates modern ideas and methods about the engravings, therefore stressing the continuance of cultural traditions. Interviews with local shamans and seniors give first-hand reports of ceremonies and rites, therefore presenting a living glimpse of the ancient symbols. The team's polite interaction with these areas enhances their knowledge and emphasizes the need to conserve the cultural legacy these sites reflect, as well as the engravings. Ensuring that the voices of the indigenous people take the front stage in their research, Dr. Rieris's team respectfully and carefully records these cultural practices. They understand the meaning of certain symbols and their links to historical events and natural occurrences. Emphasizing the durability and adaptation of the local cultures, they also investigated how colonization and modernity affect traditional customs. This offered a whole perspective on the cultural and mythical relevance of the engravings by combining ancient and modern stories. Number 11. Historical trade routes along the Orinoco. A major commercial artery, the Orinoco River, enabled the flow of goods, ideas, and cultural practices, so enabling their exchange. The engravings probably capture this active flow of trade and exchange. Let's look at the historical trade routes linking the Orinoco to various areas and investigate how the engravings might represent alliances, trading deals, or cultural interactions. Trade items and artifacts discovered at the sites offer physical proof of these relationships, vividly illustrating a dynamic, linked prehistoric world. Combining historical documents with archaeological data, the team charts the trade routes. They learn that the Orinoco connected many civilizations, therefore promoting not just trade, but also religious and creative concepts. Including symbols and ideas from several civilizations, the researchers investigated how these encounters shaped the engravings. Understanding the trade routes helps the team to better grasp the social and economic dynamics of the prehistoric communities along the Orinoco. Number 12. Interaction with diverse cultures. The engravings' varied cultural motifs and artifacts from far-off areas point to interactions among several tribes. The evidence for such contacts is investigated together with how trade, migration, and cultural interchange shaped the engravings. Comparative research at similar sites all around exposees shared patterns and influences, therefore underscoring the interdependence of past civilizations. This also addresses how these relationships shape artistic expression and cultural identity formation, therefore offering a larger background for for appreciation of the engravings. Examining the objects discovered at the engraving sites closely, the team notes materials and designs suggesting interaction with these civilizations. They detect trends of influence and adaptation by matching these results with comparable sites all around South America. Emphasizing the fluidity and vitality of prehistoric cultural barriers, this shows how the engravings are evidence of a sophisticated network of relationships spanning regional isolation. Number 13, symbolism of threat and warning. As warnings to outsiders, the snake themes could represent peril. The function of the engravings as deterrence is investigated, together with how they might have shielded society from certain dangers. Comparisons between historical and ethnographic data help to corroborate this hypothesis by shedding light on the usage of symbolic deterrence in both ancient and contemporary society. They also looks at the psychological effects of these symbols, investigating how respect for the engravings and dread might have shaped societal dynamics and conduct. The team looks at similar symbolic deterrence in these civilizations, relating the snake engravings along the Orinoco. They look at how the symbols might have sent signals on social hierarchy, ecological hazards, and territorial limits. Interviews with local seniors offer modern viewpoints on the importance of such symbols. This emphasizes the ability of engravings to convey complicated social signals and provides an understanding of how prehistoric societies used art to preserve their communities and uphold order. Number 14. Preservation efforts. Maintaining the engravings presents a difficult and pressing chore. To create thorough conservation plans, the team works with local government, indigenous groups, and foreign agencies, from legislative protections to useful conservation methods, which detail the difficulties and achievements of these endeavors. Emphasizing the requirement of sustainable, culturally appropriate methods, this also stresses the need for community involvement and education in guaranteeing the long-term preservation of the engravings. Preservation methods, including protective barriers and controlled environmental conditions, applied to defend the engravings from both natural and man-made hazards. The team also talks about the need to increase knowledge among nearby people and encourage responsibility among them. Combining scientific and cultural methods helps the preservation initiatives to respect the historical and spiritual relevance of the engravings while safeguarding them. This emphasizes the cooperative approach to heritage preservation, as well as the common obligation of safeguarding these priceless cultural objects. Number 15. Role of indigenous communities in preservation. Maintaining the engravings depends much on indigenous people. Their customs and expertise provide a priceless understanding of the relevance and background of the carvings. This emphasizes the cooperative efforts among archaeologists and indigenous leaders, therefore highlighting effective alliances and projects. The team guarantees that the engravings are kept in a way that respects their cultural legacy by including indigenous viewpoints in preservation techniques. Particular projects are headed by indigenous people that help the sites be preserved and revitalized, including cultural heritage tourism and educational activities. It also covers the difficulties these people encounter, legal and political ones, as well as the techniques they employ to go beyond them. Stressing these cooperative initiatives shows the need to appreciate and enable indigenous voices in the care of the cultural legacy. Number 16, registration with national heritage bodies. Registration of the engravings with national heritage organizations offers legal protection and acknowledgement. The bureaucratic and cooperative efforts engaged in obtaining official status for the locations are described. Emphasizing the difficulties of legacy preservation, the process entails a lot of documentation, lobbying, and negotiation. Successful registration offers funding, research possibilities, and more public awareness, among other things. This also addresses the difficulties and possible dangers of the registration process, therefore providing an understanding of the larger scene of cultural legacy management. To gather the required records and make a strong argument for the importance of the engravings, The team cooperated collaboratively with government authorities, historians, and attorneys. They also conduct public outreach, teaching the neighborhood the value of the sites and thereby building local support. Emphasizing the cooperative and multifarious efforts needed to reach official recognition and protection, this offers a behind-the-scenes view of the complex process of heritage registration. Number 17. Case studies of similar engravings. Comparative investigations at comparable places throughout the globe offer insightful background and perspective. Case studies from Africa, Asia, and Europe in this highlight shared themes and variances. Through analysis of these similarities, the team develops a better knowledge of the position of the Orinoco engravings in the world history of rock art. It also looks at how these parallels shape theories and interpretations, therefore enhancing the research from a wider angle. Exploring particular examples like the cave carvings of Europe, the petroglyphs of the Sahara, and the rock art of Australia's Indigenous peoples. Examining each case, study closely with an eye toward the artistic characteristics, cultural settings, and historical relevance. The team emphasizes the special features of the Orinoco engravings and finds universal themes in human expression using their analogues. From a worldwide perspective, this emphasizes the shared legacy of rock art and the interdependence of human civilizations by placing the engravings within such a framework. Number 18. Comparative analysis with other regions. Maintaining the comparative study, this focuses on stylistic and thematic parallels between the Orinoco engravings and those in other areas. Detailed analyses expose trends of impact and variation, therefore clarifying the development of rock art in many civilizations. Emphasizing the universality and variety of human expression through rock art also explores the consequences of these discoveries for knowledge of cultural transmission and adaptation in prehistoric cultures. The team painstakingly examines the motifs, methods, and settings of rock engravings from several locations throughout the globe. They pinpoint common symbols and creative rules, and then investigate how these components moved and changed throughout civilizations. This looks at how social and environmental elements could shape regional differences. The team creates a whole picture of the linked and dynamic character of prehistoric rock art by combining data from several fields. Number 19. Technological advances in archaeological studies. Thanks to technological developments which provide fresh tools and approaches for examining historic locations, archaeological investigation has been changed. Technological developments such as remote sensing, digital mapping, and 3D modeling have transformed the study of the Orinoco engravings. These instruments enable more exact documentation, analysis, and preservation, therefore revealing previously unreachable elements. Let's look at how machine learning and artificial intelligence might be incorporated into archaeological study. These technologies improve data analysis capacity, pattern recognition, and fresh insight generation ability. These instruments help the team to recreate the cultural settings, social dynamics, and environmental conditions of the prehistoric civilizations producing the engravings. This emphasizes the need for invention in revealing and safeguarding our common legacy by stressing the innovative technology supporting modern archaeology. Number 20. Challenges in rock art preservation. From natural hazards to human intervention, preserving rock art offers many difficulties. This covers the particular problems affecting the preservation of the Orinoco engravings: climate change, erosion, vandalism, and tourism, among other things. The team talks about the methods and approaches applied to reduce these hazards, thereby guaranteeing the long-term preservation of the engravings. Looking at more general ethical and pragmatic factors in rock art preservation, it looks at the harmony between protection and accessibility, the importance of nearby towns, and how conservation initiatives affect the natural and cultural scene. Stressing these difficulties underlines the need for sustainable and cooperative methods in the preservation of rock art, therefore guaranteeing the protection of these priceless cultural objects for the next generations. Number 21. future research directions. Analysis of the Orinoco engravings is far from complete. Future directions of research are described together with unresolved problems and fresh paths of investigation. The team intends to widen its research to include more sites along the Orinoco and apply cutting-edge technologies to find latent features and links. Such ideas from disciplines such as anthropology, ecology, and linguistics thus also address the possibility of multidisciplinary projects. The team hopes to get a more thorough awareness of the carvings and the civilizations that produced them by using a whole approach. This emphasizes the dynamic and continuous character of archaeological study, as well as the fascinating opportunities for further discoveries and understanding. Number 22. Impact on local and global archaeological understanding. The results of the Orinoco engravings have major ramifications for local and worldwide archaeology. This investigates how the research provides fresh angles on cultural, social, and environmental dynamics, therefore enhancing our knowledge of prehistoric cultures. The team's work adds important data and insights that guide comparative studies and theoretical frameworks, therefore contributing to the larger field of rock art studies. Locally, the carvings help us to better understand the old people, customs, and interactions of the area. The work adds to the corpus of rock art research worldwide, therefore encouraging more appreciation and preservation initiatives. This emphasizes the interdependence of human legacy and the common search to know our ancestors by placing the engravings into a larger archaeological conversation. Number 23. Public engagement and education. Maintaining the engravings depends on public education on their importance. Outreach projects such as local seminars, instructional courses, and public displays. Through increasing awareness, the team hopes to inspire, among both residents and guests, a feeling of responsibility and gratitude. They also look at how digital media might draw larger audiences in particular. Virtual tours, interactive websites, and social media campaigns widen the audience for educational initiatives by bringing the tale of the Orinoco engravings worldwide. By use of these programs, the team hopes to motivate a fresh round of archaeologists and environmentalists. Number 24. The Scholars' Debate. The discovery of the Orinoco engravings sets historians and academics into a great argument. This documents the scholarly debates, influencing our knowledge of the engravings, therefore capturing the enthusiasm and controversy. Drawing on fieldwork, historical documents, and comparative studies, experts provide several ideas on the intent and meaning of the sculptures. With scholars constantly changing their views depending on fresh data and ideas, this emphasizes the dynamic character of academic conversation. It also underlines the need for multidisciplinary cooperation, since knowledge from ecology, languages, and anthropology enhances the archaeological story. This constant argument emphasizes the complexity and importance of the engravings. Number 25. Reflections on the study. Examining the Orinoco engravings has given fresh directions for archaeological inquiry. Reflecting on the road, this summarizes important discoveries and muses over the direction of rock art study. Using their efforts, the team has exposed the great cultural, spiritual, and social aspects of the engravings, therefore providing a window into the life of ancient people. This also covers the larger ramifications of the studies for public involvement and preservation of legacy. It emphasizes the need to keep such locations open for the next generations, encouraging a greater respect for our common human legacy. Comfortable and committed to exploring the rich tapestry of our prehistoric past, the team exits the Orinoco. We appreciate you traveling with us across time and culture. Should you find great enjoyment in this investigation into the ancient secrets of the Orinoco engravings, kindly like, share, and subscribe for more intriguing revelations of our common legacy. Your assistance enables us to keep finding and safeguarding the historical narratives for the next generations.